whether or not you think it's investable.
Thanks for having me, Carl. Nice to see you, John and Julia. We've got a long history in this company of getting penalties and the company growing. So if you're looking at historically, absolutely buy the stock when bad news comes up, because it's gone from 50 to 100, and now it peaked at, I think, $1 trillion, just over $1 trillion valuation. So historically, that's correct. So now what we have to wonder is this the straw on the camel's back here? Because there is something about kids and body dysmorphia issues, and this research that feels qualitatively different this time. Cambridge Analytica, a little hard to understand. The Beacon penalty they got, back in, what was that, 2012? That was, ages ago. Even the $5 billion fine they got in 2019, none of this has changed their behavior. But this one feels different. And I think if you look at the proposals they're putting up of how to deal with it, those also seem different. For the first time, we're hearing Facebook say things like, hey, maybe we'll age gate the service. Maybe we won't let certain ages here. Maybe we'll give parents control over their kids' accounts. Oh my God, maybe we'll even put time limits on this thing. So that could lead to headwinds. The death by distraction theory, I think, is the one with the most credibility here of not to buy the stock.
Right.
There's a moral reason not to buy the stock, but the distraction this will be on management and recruiting, that's going to be really hard. And there's a generation of people, I think, who maybe just don't want to work for this kind of company.
Maybe, but they also seem to continue to be able to hire. Zuckerberg's overall approval ratings, as seen in Glassdoor and places like that, still relatively high. I want your take on
probably based on the RSUs going up. If the RSUs are down and underwater, that could be different, right, John?
We'll see. We'll see what happens there. Maybe that
today's not a good day.
I want to ask you about what really sinks a company. Individual mistakes, it seems to me, aren't what tends to sink tech companies. It's more the wrong ideas that permeate the way they hire, the way they build product, the way they roll out services. Thus far, up to this point, with M&A, with product design, even though you might take issue with the results and the impact, Facebook has been right. Is there a signal that they're starting to be wrong?
Yeah, I think the signal that they could be wrong is going to be reflected in the stock price, which we're seeing today. And the way they've dealt with these issues has always been to brush them off. And let's face it, they've been very arrogant about it. They've basically, send out PR people, and they don't actually take meaningful steps. The meaningful steps here, that we heard from the whistleblower were very, very moderate. But this could be a Microsoft moment where, they can't be as aggressive buying companies. We all saw what happened with Explorer and the entire antitrust there. I think Bill Gates got burned out by it. Management got burned out by it. They were distracted. So if there is a thesis to not buy the stock, I think the distraction thesis, the RSUs, their restricted stock units becoming worth less, and just having a hard time buying big innovative things and hiring. And if they didn't buy Instagram or WhatsApp, we would be talking and referring to Facebook as something very different than how we talk about it today. So long term, in the next couple of years, is the stock going to get crushed? I'm not so sure of that. I think this will take a long time to litigate. But 10, 20 years from now, could this be a company that has a hard time buying other big companies and innovating? Sure. Yeah, that seems quite possible.